Hello, welcome back to the School of Self-Worth. I am so excited to spend some time this month closing out the year with my Your Clear Calling Success Series, where I sit down with a few of my incredible, inspiring past students who share how their lives have been completely transformed by Your Clear Calling. If you're not already familiar with my signature program, it breaks down the exact steps required to shatter stubborn blocks so you can understand and really leverage the language of intuition and step into your purposeful life. It helps you completely shift your relationship with yourself and those whom you love the most in just 16 weeks. You won't recognize yourself from the first day of the program to the very last day. It is a wild ride and it is a complete metamorphosis. Today, I am talking with my client, Carla Drumbeater, who used YCC and coaching work for a major transformation. She not only ran the New York City Marathon last year with nonprofit Native Strength Revolution and was featured on Good Morning America and Runner's World, she was an insulin dependent diabetic who got completely off insulin. Since then, the respiratory therapist has landed speaking and writing gigs. She's been certified in Thai body work. She traveled for the first time to Hawaii and is sharing her gifts with her community. And the best part is she knows how to use the language of intuition to guide her life. If you are seeing yourself in Carla's story and thinking, this is precisely the kind of transformation I want for myself too for the new year, I'm offering an extra bonus month for anyone who joins before the end of 2023. If that's you, DM me New Year at Nicole Song on Instagram and we'll chat. Okay, everyone, let's dig into this beautiful conversation. Well, Carla, hi. Welcome to the School of Self-Worth.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you here. So, Carla is one of my clients, and I really love the opportunity to bring a client onto the podcast because I know their story. And I really wanted to give all of you who are listening the opportunity to hear like some of the really incredible breakthroughs they've had and the big elements of their life that have transpired since working together, and then really their evolution and journey. Because one of my intentions with this podcast is to give people a deeper understanding of how somebody may look successful on the surface, but really that comes with a lot of deep inner work. And so Carla is such a great example of that. So Carla has a really powerful story. And so I'm curious, Carla, if you could even giving you that container of the story of your own self-worth journey, if you could even start for us where that really began for you.
Okay. I My story of self-worth began with yoga about 12 years ago, 13 years ago. I was a single mom raising three kids. I had five jobs. I worked 54 hours a week and I was just stressed, overwhelmed, getting sick. I had insulin diabetes. I was 60 pounds heavier than I am now.
Mm.
And also the stress on my body when I had uterine prolapse. And they said it was the weight of my body pushing on my insides. And they gave me 10 years till I was going to need a hysterectomy. And I needed something to start making myself feel better. Also, at the same time, I was in a relationship with my son's father, and I found out when my son was 6 and graduated from kindergarten that he had another whole family across town and lived with another woman north of town. And so that was pretty devastating to me. And so I started going to a local hot yoga studio and I would just lay on my mat and cry. I probably would lay there for about a half an hour and
Mm.
cry or just not do yoga. And the teachers were so accepting and they let me cry and they encouraged me to keep coming back and made me feel welcome. And so that's how my yoga journey started. I did that on and off for 10 years. And I slowly started losing some weight and I started feeling more flexible and better in my body. And then um, the pandemic hit and it was very stressful for me. And I didn't know how to cope with it. I found myself really scared and staying up late. And on Facebook, I saw a an ad for Native Strength Revolution, and they were offering to teach me yoga with a scholarship so that I could afford it. And I promised to teach Indigenous people yoga after taking the scholarship. And that was, I signed up for that in the end of 2020, and I started my yoga teacher training in January of 2021 and graduated in March of 2021. And then after that, I committed to a 5 minute a day yoga practice for 365 days. One of my classmates was doing that too, and one of my teachers said even 1 minute of yoga a day is beneficial. And so I thought I could do 5 minutes. So I picked a song to dedicate to my 5 minute yoga practice and did that for 365 days. But then I found out in April when I meditated, I started to see colors. I started to see indigo. And I asked a friend who is an acupuncturist, I told her she was a good friend, and I thought I was having a stroke. And with all the panic with working with the pandemic, and she said, I thought I think your chakras are opening, chakras. And I had no idea what, um, I knew a little bit what a chakra was. And I remember on the first day of my yoga teacher training, I scribbled it on a piece of paper because I didn't know what that word meant or what it was. And I wanted to learn it. And then when my friend told me she thought my chakras were opening, I thought, okay, I went to my daughter used to have me go to a metaphysical store in the neighborhood and they had crystals. And back then I didn't believe in the crystals or the metaphysical stuff, but I needed help. So I went to the store and I told the lady, I'm a new yoga teacher and I started seeing indigo when I meditate. And my friend told me my chakras are opening. So do you have anything in the store that can help me out? Any books, anything? And then she led me to the crystals. And so then I bought my first crystal and I started meditating with the crystals, like this when I started with the palm stones.
Mhm.
And working it through the pandemic, I wouldn't get a break sometimes.
Well, can you share with everyone too what work you do?
I'm a respiratory therapist and I worked in the COVID ICU during the pandemic, and I witnessed a lot of people get sick and die. I also witnessed a lot of people recover,
Mhm.
but it was very hard to see the people get sick and die. And all my coworkers too, we were all dedicated to take care of the patients in the hospital, whether we got breaks or not, and to keep myself grounded. I used my crystals every day, so I would set an intention with my crystal. Like I would say to myself, and I wrote it on the bottom of my worksheet when I worked to remind myself to do this too, so I don't get
Mhm.
overwhelmed. Because I noticed when I got overwhelmed, I wasn't seeing the colors when I meditate.
Oh, cool.
And when I saw the colors, I'm a better mom, I'm a better coworker, I'm a better auntie, I'm a better friend, I'm a better partner. I noticed that. And so I would say my intention, like, I feel the magic of the universe. And then I'll go on about my day. And so then if I started feeling a little overwhelmed at work again, I would just feel for my stone in my pocket and say my intention and keep going about my day.
Mm. Well, what a beautiful practice. Oh, there's Rocky. I love
Yeah.
how she's got her dog there for those of you listening. Well, first, wow, what a story, Carla. Just like to the beginning of your story. And, I know pieces of it before, but just, all that you were going through and experiencing, even when you started to practice yoga, including, everything you were going through with your son's father and your life and all the physical ailments that you were going through that you slowly started to work through. But then, bam, like life hits you with the pandemic, which it did for all of us, but particularly you, because you were like medical worker on the front lines. And so then, take us through that. So you went through yoga teacher training, you were starting to work with your crystals. And so where did that get you? Because it sounded like it started to help you, but then there were still things that you were feeling challenged with. So could you get into that a little bit as well?
Well, I was also feeling challenged with balancing my relationships with everything that was coming to me through the pandemic. And I I missed, I actually, when the pandemic hit, it was my son's 15th birthday, and I didn't even get him a birthday cake.
Mm.
I totally missed out on that. He didn't get a birthday cake till August. And then also, um, I feel I was neglecting my partner.
Mm.
And you actually helped with that because after my yoga teacher training, I started Light Your Leadership coach training. And I met you in Gems 1 of that coach training. And I reluctantly raised my hand and you picked me. And I remember being so uncomfortable being pressed into possibility because I really have not had a lot of people press me into possibility before. And I, through your work, I was able to see that I was neglecting the relationship with my Tom. That's what I
Mhm.
call him, my Tom, because he needed more time for me, and I love him, and I wanted to give that to him. And then, oh my gosh, when after that integration you did too, I started seeing red from the root chakra when I meditated.
Mm.
So my chakras opened more, and then my relationship improved and grew. So then I was thinking, wow, all this stuff I'm doing, the yoga, the crystals, the coaching with Nicole, the light year leadership training is everything is just making me healthier in my mind and in my body
Mhm.
and decreasing my stress, my diabetes had gotten better. And then I started to do more things for me. Like, the next year in spring of 2022, I decided to go on and join more coaching with you. You had a free, I think, 5-day Brave workshop, and
Mhm.
I attended that. And then I was looking and searching for more
Mhm.
because from what I experienced so far, it had keep improving my life. And I felt like I was going on the right path. So I joined the Brave workshop and I talked to you and I remember telling you, I need your help. And then I joined more coaching with you, the Mastermind, and um,
Well, do you
you're
remember what
calling.
happened with the retreat? Yeah, so we talked, I remember, and then we were talking about having you come on my retreat that year. And do you remember what happened with that? You were telling me about this.
Yeah, I actually old old junk came up.
Mhm.
So when you invited me to the retreat, I just deleted the email and I thought, I can't, I won't, I don't have the money, I am greedy. Who am I to think I could do this and take that time for myself? And then and then I think with the math, I was doing a mastermind then too, and started taking care of myself and acknowledging myself. And I think I emailed or I called you and I said, "Can you send me that link again? Because I want, I really need to do this." And and then I I let go of the worry about the money and and it was the first time I ever traveled by myself for myself ever. And it was
Mm.
an amazing experience. I did have some fear of how I was going to get from the airport to the place, it, but you guys had a lot of a lot of plans for us and how to get to the right location. So yeah, it worked well. And then I got to meet so many amazing women from all over the country with different backgrounds. And I really thought that before the retreat that I couldn't really fit in with other women and
Mm.
like I was an imposter wherever I was. But these women were all from different backgrounds, and we did we learned gems 1 and 2, and we learned about each other, and I found connection, and that gave me less fear to do the things that I wanted to do.
Mhm. Well, Carla, you're saying so many important things, and I just want to note a couple of them. First, going back to when you said, I felt like I was on the right track and I wanted to do more. And so you spoke to that, like when you started to join some of my free workshops. And what was it within you that you knew you still wanted to reach out? Like if you were on track, why did you reach out for additional support?
I felt like I still there was more to uncover. I
Mm.
and I had because every it seems like every time I did the work with you, I jumped over another hurdle or another obstacle and
Mhm.
another challenge. And the feeling getting over those obstacles and challenges that I didn't think I could ever do was incredible. Like I ran the New York City Marathon. At the same I I had the opportunity to do that through Native Strength Revolution. I decided to train for the marathon in spring, right? This at the same time I decided to start coaching with you and and I was went back and forth with self-doubt.
Mm.
But my self-doubt was saying, what are you thinking? You're 50 years old. You've never ran a marathon before. And and then my coach and the founder, Kate of Native Strength Revolution, she says, "Come on, Carla. You're only 3 years older than me. You can do it." So, one thing about the marathon training I learned is to listen to people who are for you, because I did get a lot of people who were telling me not to do it. I actually, I was one of my first trainings, I was running around a lake in Minneapolis, and a girl from work ran across me, and she was trying to talk me out of it. She says, "Carla, you don't need to do this. Why are you doing this? You should do more yoga." And she said, "I'd really like to see you as a yoga teacher." And I said, "Well, I still am a yoga teacher, but I'm raising money for Native Strength Revolution, who taught me to be a yoga teacher. And then
Mm.
raising money for them gives me the opportunity to continue teaching Indigenous people yoga and make more. Indigenous yoga teachers. So it's really something I feel like it is important to me. And and then also I learned to start asking for help. Like you were the first person I asked for help in that spring too. And I said, I need your help. And so, and then I started telling people my goals. Like I told coworkers, I'm going to run the New York City Marathon. And there were people who were supportive. And some people would say, I had a nurse who ran marathons before, and she said, I told her my knees were hurting. And she said, Google or YouTube rock tape your knees. And so I started doing that, and that helped. And another nurse said, go to a running store and get professionally fit for running shoes. And I did that. And then I, I actually bought socks specifically for running and sunglasses specifically for running. And then I was an insulin dependent diabetic
Mm.
before the marathon too for 15 years. And I never thought I could get off insulin. And I started having my blood sugar drop. And I had a nutritionist 10 years ago, Rasa Troop. She got a job with the Vikings and the Minnesota Twins. And so she told me she couldn't be my nutritionist anymore 10 years ago. And then, but I learned one thing with Lightyear is it's called a large request. So I looked her up and I knew she was an Olympic runner. And she ran in the Olympics in 2006, 1 year postpartum. So I thought she must really know what she's doing. I, I emailed her and I said, Rasa, I met you like 10 years ago and I am training for the New York City Marathon and I'm struggling with energy and my diabetes. And can you help me? And I told her I'd pay her whatever she wanted me to pay her. And she said yes. And since I was a diabetic, we figured out how to get my insurance to pay for her. So I didn't have to pay for her. And she supported me with nutrition through the whole thing. And I was able to get off insulin. And I still am off insulin. I
Yeah,
think,
it's
God,
amazing.
it's been about a year now. I've been off
Yeah.
insulin. My mind, and I didn't even know how cluttered my mind was, and foggy with the insulin. And,
Mm.
and I have less restrictions too, because when I was on insulin, if I was really active, I might get a blood sugar drop, and that would end my activity because I'd have to eat some sugar, drink some pop, and like recover from the insulin low. And I'm less restricted now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's so remarkable that all those things happened in 1 year because it was 2022 that you came to the retreat. And then it was also the year that you ran the New York City Marathon. And then there were all kinds of cool things that happened at the marathon. And I'm wondering if you could tell everybody about that as well.
Yes. Um, to get into the marathon, you have to qualify or you have to get a lottery spot or you can be a charity partner. And I was part of a charity, Native Strength Revolution, and then we were raising money to um, bring yoga to indigenous communities and make more indigenous yoga teachers and provide classes to indigenous communities. And so that's how I got to run the New York City Marathon. But as a charity, they wanted to hear my story. And so I wrote a story about how grateful I was for the opportunity to run the New York City Marathon. I thought it would be life changing, and they loved my story. And I told them a story that I used yoga to keep my mind and body strong through the pandemic, working as a respiratory therapist in the COVID ICU. And I was grateful for Native Strength Revolution for teaching me to be a yoga teacher to help keep my mind and body strong. And they loved my story. They made me a part of their Team Inspire. They picked 50 people out of 50,000 to be a part of their um, Team Inspire. And I was one of them. And that was amazing. And then after that story came out, Runner's World interviewed me and published an article about me, and Forbes magazine published an article about me, and Army Navy Times also published an article about me because they were proud that I was a veteran and what I was doing. And, and then I got a really big surprise the day before the marathon. I was actually feeling kind of lonely, wandering around New York by myself. And I thought, what do I need to do to calm my mind? I found a yoga class, hot yoga class.
Mhm.
So I took one of those in the morning. And then I still wanted to boost myself up a little. So I bought some eucalyptus at a beautiful floral market. And then I'm walking back to my hotel and I get a call from Good Morning America. And they said, we would like to interview you for the marathon. Do you have time today? And I was like, I have nothing else to do. Yeah, I have time today. And they said, how soon could you be ready? And I said about an hour because I thought but they wanted to interview me via Zoom in my hotel room. So I thought, okay, I need an hour because I need to get my hair combed, I need to take a shower, I need to straighten up my room. And then, well, as I was doing that, about a half hour later, they called me and said, can you come to Central Park for the interview? And I said yes. And I asked if my teacher and Kate could come with too because I needed support. Again, asking for help.
Yes.
It's a
Good
new
job.
thing. It's a good thing for me. And they said yeah, she could come. And um, they asked, do you want to take the subway here or we can send a car for you? And I thought, I'll take the car. So it was nice. We got chauffeured to um, Central Park for my interview. And oh my gosh, that was so exciting. I tried to call Kate after and because they wanted me to wear what I was going to wear during the marathon, like the jersey is the Native Strength Revolution. So I called Kate and I said, Kate, where are you? Good Morning America called. They want to interview me and they said you could come and they want me to wear the jersey I'm going to wear while I'm running the marathon. And luckily she was like close by and she came, rode with me to Central Park and I remember her on the way there. She says, Carla, so how did this come about? And I said, remember at the beginning when we signed up for the marathon, they said they wanted us to tell them our story of why we're running the marathon. I told her I did. I think next time everybody needs to tell their story because everybody has a wonderful story. And
Yeah, we lost you for just a second, but I think it sounded like Kate actually said, "Hey, how did you get interviewed for this, or how did they know about you?" And it's because you had actually submitted to the marathon. You had submitted your story, right?
yes, yeah,
Yes. Yeah. And look at what happened, right? It got you on Good Morning America, and then you were interviewed by all these other magazines as well, all related to this choice to do the marathon.
yes.
Yeah. And then did you finish? I'm assuming you finished the
I
marathon.
I did finish the marathon. I it was an amazing, incredible healing experience because before the marathon too, we were still masking everywhere. And
Mm.
And just to be open, running with 50,000 people through New York was very freeing and so many emotions doing that. I think I cried, I laughed, I sang, I hollered.
That's incredible. I mean, I love because we were working together by this point, and I was just like, we were all you and like the cohort that we were all working with. We're all cheering you on. We're just like so excited for you, Carla. It was just really, truly incredible. And then I feel like so many things have unfolded for you since that point last year. Now, in terms of like your journey, and could you share about some of the things that have transpired since we've been working together around what you're really wanting next for yourself?
I am, I have started a business with Reiki and crystal healing and yoga. And I, through your leadership too, I got connected with my Reiki teacher,
Hmm.
Jenna Zabrowski. And now I'm a certified level 2 Reiki practitioner. And I work with my crystals and do crystal healing on people also. And I started teaching yoga to Indigenous youth through Native Strength Revolution, and that is really healing also. Is being a I was a child. I'm from the Leech Lake Band of Ojibwe, and my family has struggled with substance abuse. And I lost my mother when I was a young girl. I was 14, and I didn't feel like I really had a female example to follow. But now, through Native Strength Revolution and being a yoga teacher, I am teaching Indigenous youth yoga in some Section 8 housing projects in South Minneapolis, where I actually lived when I was a single mother and was going to school for respiratory therapy. So it's really, really healing for me to help those little kids. And they, I have them doing a sun salutation now, and I'm so proud of them. Oh, I'm proud of me too for being able to do
Good.
that.
Yeah, amazing. I love that. Well, I love that you're doing so much. Like, there's just been such a journey for you, Carla, right from the beginning, like even when you started doing yoga, and then to be all the way at this point now. And then, would you say is like one of the key points for you that's keeping you on track? What's like really helping you stay the course as your life? Like right now, you're really living. You know how you were resistant to possibility when we first met, and now you're really living into this life of possibility. And I'm curious for anybody who's listening, who's like feeling that call, but they're feeling a little bit like, I don't know how to do it. What would you say to somebody who's starting to feel like, well, I really want a life that feels that way, that feels much more open, that I feel really worthy of having possibility? Like, what would you offer for them?
I would tell them to get in touch with their body sensations too, and how it feels when you are doing the right thing, or how it feels when you get something you want, or how it feels when you accomplish something, and how light it feels, these little bit of body tingles, when you open up and just see if what you want to do feels good in your body. And
Mhm.
and then pretty soon other people will feel it too. The people around me that have seen me change and I've helped with Reiki or crystal healing, they're like they are like, wow, you're really good at that. And I use my body sensations to get there.
Mm. So good. Thank you for sharing that, Carla. And then how would you say that, coaching has supported you in general on this journey?
Coaching has um, really made me aware of my body sensations And actually, before coaching too, I was so closed and so much old things that have happened in my past that were blocking me from what I want is now gone. I'm able to like put those things aside, and I don't have to be that 14-year-old indigenous youth whose mother died and
Mm.
just like hold that sadness out with me. And I know my mother, I just can remember the good things about her. My mother loved me, and I can see my mother and other indigenous women and help them, give them the support they need, and see me in them. I used to not be able to see myself in other women,
Mm.
indigenous or not, and now I see.
Yeah. Yeah. And could you speak a little specifically too around how like the mastermind has supported you and then you were also part of your clear calling and what it's been like? Because now that you are saying like you can be connected to other women, being in those cohorts, right, is definitely an experience of being around other women. And what do you get from being in those spaces where you're getting coached and you're working with other women on these things for your own life?
It has really been a blessing to be part of those groups and see those other women like every week or every other week or every month or on the Voxer group and hearing their progress and hearing their what was that, Good Job Friday, when
Mhm.
everybody would say a good thing they did for themselves on Friday. And oh, I love to hear what everybody else was doing, and it inspired me to do more for myself. Also, I would hear some of the things the other women were doing, and I thought, wow, I could do that too. And I remember one time, I think I don't know if it was a boxer group or I was feeling kind of procrastinating at home and not very motivated. And then one of your things was to go wash 5 dishes, and then that's good for the day. And so I got up and I actually did them all, and
Good.
and that was good for the day. Yeah,
Yeah.
just a little inspiration every week, every other week was great. And I also noticed as I went on with the program, like I used to start and I was always in like my work clothes at work. And and then I started learning to dedicate more time to myself. So when the program was going on, I would get the day off so that I could be home instead of having to go run off. I learned to dedicate the time for myself, and it was much better that way.
Yeah. Well, I love how your journey started with you even recognizing to come on the retreat and say, oh, I can prioritize myself and actually take a trip for myself has turned into you understanding how to do that consistently in your life as well. Like you can actually prioritize yourself and that it's actually better for everybody, your relationship, your family, like the people around you, because Carla is really prioritizing her own needs, is what I was hearing.
Yes, exactly. I actually
Yeah.
went also I prioritized, I went to part-time work as a respiratory therapist. I was full-time and now I work 23 hours a week. And I was worried again about I can't, I won't, I don't have the money. And since I prioritized me, that I still am making about the same amount of money as I did before. So it did, it's just better for me.
Yeah, it's funny how it works like that, isn't it? Well, Carla, I'm so grateful to you for sharing your story. It's been such a joy for us to work together and to see your expansion and growth. And I love how you really model for everyone. It's like, well, when you're on the right track, like keep doing the things that are going to help you stay on track and to keep expanding in that direction. So it is time now for our rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. All right. What was the last thing you watched on TV?
I was watching a Ayurveda podcast,
I made a podcast. Okay, cool. Amazing. Okay, and then what is on your nightstand?
a blue calcite crystal to help with me and Tom's communication.
Oh, beautiful. I love that. Okay, and when was the last time you tried something new and what was it?
I tried goat at the Somali restaurant.
Nice.
And it was good.
It was tasty. Yeah, good
Yes.
job. Good job. Trying goat. I love it. I always like trying new foods. Okay, and then what are your top 3 most used emojis on your phone?
The heart,
Mhm.
the smiley face, and then that smiley face with the water coming out of the eyes.
Oh yeah, the laughing emojis.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites too. Well, Carla, it's such a joy to have you here on the podcast. And we're going to share ways to get in touch with you too, if people are interested, in her and her services. And then I just want to acknowledge you for just being so persistent in your growth. Like you really have been committed to it since we met a year ago. And I'm really grateful to you because I see how that kind of commitment, like I always think of it as compound interest in yourself, that when you commit to yourself, and you invest in yourself, it compounds into all of these really amazing things in your life. So thank you for modeling that for so many people.
Thank you.